Welcome, everybody, to RV Podcast episode 385.
And this week, we're going to talk about how lead is dead.
We're going to talk about why lithium is the new standard for RV batteries.
Welcome, fellow travelers. It's time for another episode of the RV Podcast.
Answering your questions, sharing tips, suggesting great trips and off-the-beaten-path adventures, and always staying on top of the RV lifestyle news you need to know about with great interviews and inside industry information.
Here's your hosts, award-winning journalists Mike and Jennifer Wendland.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike, and this is my lifelong traveling companion and my bride, Jennifer. And here we are with episode 385 of the RV Podcast.
I can't wait till we get to episode 400.
15 more weeks, and it'll be episode
long.
400. I read something the other day that the average podcast ends after just 6 episodes.
So you tell me we're a little slow?
Yes, we are a little slow. But it is a lot more work than most people think, isn't it?
It is.
It is. Well, as we said at the top, we are going to talk about lead is dead. Lead being lead acid batteries, the traditional AGM batteries that you have been seeing as sort of the stock batteries for RVs for the last several years. That's all changed, and it's changed over the last 4 or 5 years when lithium began to be introduced into the RV community, lithium batteries, lithium-ion batteries. Well, it is now pretty much the de facto standard. And in the podcast today, in a couple of minutes, we're going to hear from 2 people. We're going to hear from our friend Sean Nichols, who is with Battleborn Batteries and Dragonfly Batteries, Dragonfly being the parent company of Battleborn. And Jeff Runnels. Jeff is the president and the CEO of Keystone RV, one of the biggest RV companies out there, which is now making Battleborn lithium batteries, or Dragonfly-produced lithium batteries, as a factory option in their vehicles, in their towables, fifth wheels, and trailers. So that's a big story for them.
I think if you're an RVer, the number one concern on your mind with summer coming up is the price of gasoline. Yeah. And it certainly has been going up, and many are predicting that the price of gas is going to reach $4 a gallon or more everywhere in the country within the next few weeks, in part because of Russia's decision to invade the Ukraine. Russia, as I think most people know, is a major exporter of gasoline and providing much of the fuel for Europe. I always knew that it was a supplier of Europe, and even some for the United States these days.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I didn't know that until just recently. And prices are already running at an 8-year high because of inflation and other matters. But this war is going to just drive the price of gas up.
Yeah, well, and it already has been going up. We notice it as we drive. We had a question on our Sunday night Ask Us Anything of when we thought that fuel price hikes would affect the RV sales and travel. And from the last time we've seen, this is going back almost to the RV recession year of 2008, 2009, but when it hits a national average nearing $5 a gallon, understanding that in New York and in California it's already almost that, but when that becomes the norm around the country, it tends to curtail travel. But it's getting there. It's, as you just said, it's 8 years it's the highest it's been in 8 years. So.
And when it gets really high, then you stay closer to home because people still want to go.
Yep. Well, we've got some comments that we've received this week that we wanted to share with you. This is from Dwayne, and he says, "Thank you. You two do a wonderful job on your videos and articles." Well, thank you, Dwayne. Dwayne says, "We purchased our first RV this past summer, a used Class B. 6 weeks after getting it, we had a blowout in the desert that ended with a rollover and a total loss.
Wow.
Both my wife and I walked away uninjured. Our 16-year-old Red Heeler mix, a dog, Annie, is bulletproof and was fine. Our 1-year-old golden retriever, Leela, suffered a laceration above her eye, and the vet sewed that right up, and she was fine. We were fortunate to find a replacement RV It was a later model with fewer miles, and we drove it off the lot exactly 1 month after the accident. We've always wanted an RV, and as terrible of an accident as that was, we are still in love with the RV lifestyle more than ever. By the way, he says, I have ordered a new RV tire pressure monitoring system, and that should give us some peace of mind while on the road. Our biggest challenge, like many others, is finding that most of the more favorable campgrounds are full weeks or months in advance. Yes, they are. But I found that a really encouraging note about your spirit to keep going on and the importance of knowing the condition of your tires. It's impossible to predict a blowout, but having properly inflated tires, and you'll know that with the tire pressure monitoring system, it is essential for safety. So thank you, Dwayne, for sharing that. All right, last week we talked about Google Fi, that telephone, Wi-Fi data system that Google makes available. And we talked a little bit about it and the good reviews that we've seen. But you have a comment from one of our viewers about Google Fi.
Yeah, this is from Bob. And he said, I feel qualified to comment further regarding the recent viewer question that you fielded regarding Google Fi. My wife and I have subscribed on a shared plan for about 6 months. We each purchased a Google Pixel phone to fully realize the benefits of the Google Fi service. There are other phones that can be used, but few will realize the complete benefit of the service, namely hotspots and tethering capacities. While the data and voice network does utilize the T-Mobile and U.S. cellular networks, the Pixel phone will automatically switch between the two if I need to carry a signal. And when you are connected to Wi-Fi, the Pixel phone will use that as a primary source of data connectivity, and you will not even notice a quality difference. So, if you spend quite a bit of time connected to Wi-Fi at home, at work, or when traveling, your data usage and billing will drop dramatically. We have yet to even use 2Gs of data during 1 monthly cycle. Have never been without voice or data service, and have never paid more than $55 for 1 month of service for 2 people. That's pretty awesome. Also, while 5G data is still rolling out fully to most carriers, T-Mobile arguably has the most robust 5G network of any carrier. So when you're out of Wi-Fi range and your Pixel phone is connected to their data stream, it is probably a 5G connection. I have recorded download speeds over 150 megabytes on the T-Mobile 5G network. Overall, we are very happy with our Google Fi plan and the Pixel phones. It can be a very low-cost option with excellent quality of service, especially if you are connected to Wi-Fi most of the time.
Well, that's a great testimony from Bob, and we thank him for sending that in. As I said, the problem I have with it is a couple of things. One, I'm not a big fan of even though I have T-Mobile, but it's with Verizon. T-Mobile and what is it? I think the other one is U.S. What is it? The other
U.S. Cellular.
U.S. Cellular. These are kind of not the most robust networks when you compare it to AT&T and Verizon nationwide. In certain spots, they're great. But the other big thing is you have to have an Android phone to really take advantage of the use. But if you do have an Android, particularly that new Pixel phone, man, it sounds like a great option. The prices are really good that he shared. So thanks for sharing that with us, Bob.
Yeah.
All right, I have a comment from Kimatha. She writes this. This is really for you, Jen. She says, tell Jen, Mike, that those snow cleats are a false sense of security on ice. I just fell flat on my face in the snow, salting my sidewalk. She's talking about, I mentioned last week, I fell twice at the dog park.
Back-to-back days.
Back-to-back days in Michigan. And I wear snow cleats and, and really bad ice. But they do make it easier to walk. But as she says, it's not foolproof. She said, I keep thinking that we're stupid for staying in the north. We should move to Florida. I like the idea of chasing the sunshine, but that would mean full-time, and my dream of doing that in retirement is now fraught with problems, even if I wasn't tied down being a caregiver. I like living vicariously through your trips. And in my opinion, you guys have the best program. As you say, a lot of those other people have a lot of drama. I watch the TV and I find that doesn't allow for comments. She watches our videos on YouTube. And when you watch on TV, you can't make comments. She says, just as well, I left Facebook a year ago due to drama and privacy issues, and I don't miss it. Happy trails I'm watching on TV, and that's from Kimantha or Kim, who shares that. Yeah, ice cleats. That's why we're going to Florida this week.
Okay.
We are out of here. We're on the road this week.
This is what I do. I stand in the garage and throw some whatever I'm going to use to melt the
salt,
the ice, the salt, whatever I'm going to use. And I don't walk out for a little bit. And I've been known to use sand as well. Yeah. I don't really trust those cleats either, even though when you have my... Last time I went to the dog park, I can't do anything about the ice there. I just kind of stood there. Yeah. And I was afraid to move.
Yeah, it's treacherous. This is really a dangerous time in the north.
Your own driveway, you can have some control. But man, when you're out there...
Yeah.
Other places, no control.
So the solution is simple for me.
South.
I'm going to Florida. We're leaving, I think, in 2 days.
And then there's people like me when we were down in Florida last year.
Oh, yeah, you fell. Yeah, last year.
We were out. I wanted to go outside, and there was a hurricane going through, and I wanted to...
Wait a minute.
I wanted to feel the wind.
Wasn't a full hurricane. We were kind of on the edge of it.
We were kind of the edge, and there was a lot of wind, and... The waves, I love waves, and I wanted to go outside and look at the waves.
And feel the
wind a little bit. And so we went outside, and my glasses misted over.
Yeah.
Like at about 2 seconds, they misted over, and I thought, I can't see. And, an intelligent person would have stopped. When you can't see, stop. Well, there was a step. And I went flat down on my face. So my cheekbone, my chin. Oh. But I survived. Nothing got broken.
She survived. And we thank you guys all for those comments. You can send us your comments at Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com.
It's dangerous out there. What can I say?
It is, wherever you are.
Got to wrap in bubble wrap.
All right. When we come back, an interview with Sean Nichols from Battleborn Batteries and with Jeff Reynolds from Keystone RV. Thanks. Staying with us. We'll be right back. Are you tired of overcrowded campgrounds, competing for reservations, paying high fees for sites? Well, ownership is an emerging trend in RVing that might be for you. Jennifer and I recently bought some property just west of Nashville from a great company in Tennessee that specializes in large acreage RV property. They're called Tennessee Land and Lakes. You can check them out at myrvland.com. The scenery and the setting is breathtaking, and you own it outright. It's not a timeshare. Your property, your way. You can garden, landscape, bring your pets, your friends. It's big acreage in a private setting. There's high-speed fiber optic internet connection along with utilities. A wonderful place to make your home base. No more calling around for reservations, and it's ready whenever you want to be there. Prices for big acreage start at only $79,900, plus you get us as your neighbors. There's financing available and some really friendly staff to work with. Visit myrvland.com. That is myrvland.com. You'll be glad you did. When we're on a road trip, we always seem to find a way to stop at a Camping World center. There are over 225 Camping World locations across the country, and there's always one close by when we need parts and accessories for our RV or just want to shop. In fact, we have so much fun with Camping World, and as we talk about it as one of our sponsors, they have agreed to offer a 10% discount if you use the coupon code RVLifestyle10 when you buy $99 or more in merchandise. You'll find everything you want, from outdoor furniture and appliances, the ones you see us use in our videos and that we talk about here in the podcast. RV extras that include everything from camping chairs to fire pits, electrical accessories, must-have gadgets. Check them all out. And again, don't forget, use the coupon code RVLifestyle10 when you visit campingworld.com.
Welcome back, and now it's time for our interview of the week, and we're going to talk about batteries, and specifically lithium.
Now, lithium batteries came on the scene about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and it was a rough couple of years. But even back then, when we were among the very, very first of RVers to use them, it was more experimental the first year or two, and we were back in the shop all the time. But even then, we knew these were truly game changers. And since then, lithium has become much more improved. The technology, the battery management system, heated batteries, they just perform so well. And there's a major announcement at the recent Tampa RV show where Keystone RV, one of the largest manufacturers of really quality towables and fifth wheels, announced that from now on they were going to make lithium batteries a factory optional install on all of their line. And they chose Dragonfly batteries for that. Dragonfly is the parent company of our friends at Battleborn Battery. So we thought it would be interesting to talk about that, what that means to RVers, why it's significant. But the overarching theme of this is that, as our friend Sean Nichols from Dragonfly and Battleborn says in the interview you're going to hear in a moment, lead is dead. Lead being lead acid AGM batteries. And he gives some strong evidence of some studies and lots of tests that have come out in recent years, along with all those improvements, that proves his point. So you're going to hear in this interview Sean Nichols from Dragonfly and then Jeff Runnels from Keystone. So let's find out why lead is dead. Why do you think lithium has become, if not the standard, it certainly is the gold step to aspire to for all RVs?
Well, that's because lead is dead, Mike. Lead is dead. Lithium batteries, lithium iron phosphate batteries, the deep cycle storage solution that we sell here at Battleborn and make and assemble here in the United States is the new standard of deep cycle storage in RVs and marine applications. And it's been proven over a number of years now and well trusted and believed in by consumers. It's been accepted by the community, and the technology continues to innovate in the pack itself. So now we offer a full line of heated batteries at Battleborn too. So if you want to charge in cold temperatures, you can get those from us now. Also, we have our same standard line without the heated option also. Man, I'll tell you what, we did a white paper a number of years ago now, maybe like 2 years ago, called Lead is Dead. And it was a white paper about how a lead acid battery can't perform well at any temperature. So when someone says to me, oh, you don't buy lithium batteries because you can't charge them in cold temperatures, I'm thinking, have you ever actually measured the amount of power that goes in and out of your lead acid battery, even at room temperature? Because it doesn't perform well even at room temperature. And at cold temperatures, I'm talking like 40 degrees, not even super cold like you went camping in the other day, it doesn't perform very well at all. It's pretty painful. So our batteries have a built-in charging protection to the BMS to stop you from ruining the battery, but now we have the heated option, so you can warm the battery up. We have a state-of-the-art heat system built into the battery, uses very little current to make the batteries warm enough so you can recharge them in any climate. People work hard for their money, so I will acknowledge that the battery does cost more up front. If you go to that same white paper, Lead is Dead, you'll find out that our batteries are over 8 times cheaper than AGM batteries over the lifespan, based on per cycle cost. Due to the length of time, due to the warranty the battery comes with, it makes people feel more comfortable making that investment in our battery than a lead acid battery. What it does is it changes the experience of using the RV. So it's not only just about the cost, it's about actually maximizing the investment that you made in this vehicle that you bought to go out and enjoy the outdoors. We've been well received by the OEM side of the business and the consumer side, and we appreciate everybody believing in us. We did recently do an agreement with Keystone. We are the exclusive battery supplier for Keystone RV, which is a very large towable manufacturer in the industry, and you can get the batteries at their dealership through Dragonfly, or you can get them you can order them on the coach itself when it comes to the dealership. I think that you can see that the tides are changing. I remember we had a conversation one time and you were asking me when I thought lithium would really have that inflection point. I think that we're there now.
Well, Jeff, you guys announced a pretty big partnership with Dragonfly, the parent company of Battleborn. Tell me about that.
So we partnered with Battleborn because they just bring so much expertise to the table, but they're also the name when you're talking about lithium. And when you're putting a solar program together, these days you can't talk about efficiencies without having a good battery. And so as we've developed this program where we're releasing 3 systems, solar on everything in some way, shape, or form at Keystone, you want good partners. And so they were kind enough to come on board, help us out, and now we've established an exclusive relationship.
So how much lithium can I put on this, ordered from the factory?
You can order our biggest system. You can order with 4 of the 270 amp hour GC3 batteries.
Wow, 1,200 amps.
Yep.
I don't need a generator.
No.
I don't need a generator. And solar. How about solar?
So the solar, again, you have a 200 watt system, a 400 watt system, and a 600 watt system are our 3 main systems that will graduate through the entire campus.
And that just helps trickle charge it. You're really relying on power in the alternator.
It depends. I'll give you an example. We had the 600i system in one of our mid-size fifth wheels at Hershey last year, and we were able to run our refrigerator and our soft start AC in that unit for up to an hour and 45 minutes. Standalone. It wasn't hooked up to power, and that was just with one 270 amp GC3 battery.
In comparison to the industry now, where does this put you guys at Keystone in terms of solar and lithium?
I would say we're well out ahead.
What this means to consumers and me as a reporter of this is these things are really good for taking off the road now, and I can make it factory installed.
That's right.
And off the grid rather than having to do it myself afterwards and retrofit. That's pretty impressive.
That was our hope. We didn't want people to have to tear these coaches apart. You don't want to have to. So the other thing that we should mention when we talk about that is all of these have outlets inverted standard from the factory. And that's the other big piece of this. So each of our coaches, regardless of what level you're at, has at least 7 outlets inverted. And that's going to be really important because you don't want to have to do that after the fact.
I feel like a pioneer. We had the lithium batteries before anybody else did, I think. We were out there.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long time, and really we have just nothing but great things to say about lithium. They charge faster, they discharge fuller, and we find that they work great in all temperatures. We have heaters on ours now, and we're big proponents of lithium, probably because we like to boondock so much and be off the grid, where you can really rely on those lithium batteries because they last so long. So
it gives you such a feeling of independence.
It does. All right, let's change gears and go to the questions of the week. And we love getting your questions. Again, you can send them to us at Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com. You want to take the first question?
I'd love to take the first question. And this is from Andy. And Andy says, would like your opinion on this. We will be retiring at the end of this year and plan on traveling about 2/3 of the time, several weeks at a time, in our 32-foot Class A, towing a small hatchback car. We've had this set up for 2 years now, and I'm considering adding 2 electric bikes, which we would store in the hatchback when traveling and not using. My question is, do you always travel with your e-bikes, and how much do you actually use them? My concern is we will haul them around, and since we have the car, won't use them that much, and I don't want to waste the money on them and not use them. We took a vacation last year and brought our regular bikes with us and only used them one day over a 2-week period since we had the car with us.
That's a great question.
It's a great question, and what we do is different than what they would do because we have our dog, and the 2 of us cannot go riding off and leave Bo all alone.
For long periods of time.
For long periods of time.
A couple minutes here and there, but yeah.
But, so we have to take turns one at a time riding a bike, and we spend a lot of time working. So we try to go for hikes where Bo can be included because when you have a big dog and you can't leave him, that works for us. But I think it's kind of... you're saying a lot when you say you have your car and that you went on a 2-week vacation and you only used your bike once. So if I were you, I'd give myself a little bit of time and try just to see taking your regular bikes if that's enough, because you can always buy bikes and they're really good. They'll ship them wherever you're going to be. And try that first before you make that big investment.
We have electric bikes and we really enjoy them.
Yes.
But we don't take them nearly as much as we would like to anymore. When we first got them, obviously, we use them a little more, but a couple of things that you need to know: they're very heavy, and they're hard for. We hear from a lot of older people who, just find it very cumbersome. They weigh about 65 pounds each, and that's kind of hard to lift out and in stuff. But they are fun. They are so much fun, and there's more and more places where you can ride them. You can ride them pretty much anywhere you can ride a bike. But because of the size of them and where do you store them, how do you haul them along, it takes a lot of space and a lot of extra weight. I think your advice, Jen, I agree with it, is just give it a while.
Give yourself a little bit of time.
Yeah.
You can always buy them.
I would suspect that you will not use them as much as you thought you would. Like anything, the more you use it, the less fun it becomes. And if you've got another vehicle for transportation, which you use, the car you tow, then you don't need it.
I guess for me it said that you had your regular bikes for 2 weeks and you only used it once.
Yeah.
So I'm a little wondering.
Yeah. So I'd say you're not a great candidate for it. So,
but if you do get it, you're going to have fun.
Yeah, you'll have
get
fun.
the basket, and you can run and do your
Yep.
errands. And do you have a dog? Do you have a cat?
Yep.
Can you
Yep.
go?
Can you both go, or does one person want to go? When we've seen people do that too. All right, one more question. This is from Cheryl, and she says, "Dear Mike and Jen, I purchased a 1966 fan 17-foot Roadmaster trailer last Easter time from a friend who hadn't used it for several years. I have not gone out in it yet because I've been working on it last summer and fall with new tires, new flooring, sealing the roof, etc. It is all self-contained. I want to go to Elkhart and research my trailer at the RV Museum Hall of Fame library there." That's great. Anyway, my question for you is, do you see many vintage campers on the road? And the answer quick to that is more and more. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people who are restoring campers and towables and everything, and we're seeing more and more of them. She said, "Would there be any problems with staying at Harvest Host, Boondockers Welcome Sites in a vintage trailer? I haven't got my membership yet, waiting until I'm ready to travel. I see where some campgrounds don't allow older RVs. I'd sure appreciate your input on this. Thanks so much." Well, I'd love to see it myself. If you have restored it, I am sure it looks great. And yes, I don't think you'd have any problem at a Harvest Host or a Boondockers Welcome. None at all. The key words to use is vintage camper restored. And people will be knocking on your door because they'll want to see it. But you are absolutely right that there are some campgrounds, some very snooty campgrounds, that don't allow RVs in over a certain age.
And there's a reason for that.
There is a reason for it.
Not everybody's done the restore.
Yes.
They're just vintage.
There are a lot, of marginally financially stable people driving some pretty rat trap RVs out there. I don't know how else to tactfully say that. And while they may work and that is their home, and we understand that, there are some RV parks who just think that looks pretty ratty, and it turns the park into what looks like a kind of an RV slum. So that's why they have those. And I know this is a controversial topic. It comes up on our Facebook page from time to time, but that's why. I mean, I'm not going to mince the truth of the matter is, and I don't want to judge anybody with anything, but I'm just saying that really junky looking ones, old ones, are not welcome in a lot of places, and many communities don't like them either. There are, and part of that's because there's been a lot of homeless encampments that have cropped up around the country, and if you've ever seen those, one of the characteristics is this really old, very poor condition RVs, trailers with rust and holes and all that stuff.
Boarded up windows.
Boarded up windows and taped over stuff, and that just looks really bad, and so communities and many RV camps don't allow it. Please don't get mad at me for saying this. I'm just trying to tell you the truth and why. But that said, your vintage trailer, which takes everything to a whole new standard, I don't think you'll have any problems, assuming you've done a nice job and it looks good, relatively good. So just if people ask to say, oh, it's a restored vintage trailer, and you should not have any trouble. So I think that's it. Hey, you got questions for us or comments? Once again, we love to get them. Just send it to us at Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com. Mike and Jen, rvlifestyle.com. Well, that's it for episode 385. We'll be back next week from the road somewhere, hopefully in warm weather, with another episode. And we thank you guys so much for watching.
Happy trails.